whatever you're going through, that difficult place or a sticky point, then that's just kind of building you up for the next phase, paving the way for you to level up.
All right, today on the Shane So podcast, I'm honored to be joined with Dr. Bobby and his wife, Miss Sandra. They are a dynamic husband and wife team whose entrepreneurial footprint spans into a bunch of different things, from pediatric dentistry to med spas to real estate. They do a little bit of everything. Super excited to talk to them. They also are doing big fix and flips as well, and I definitely want to be able to talk to them about that. And we're going to talk about their journey, their mindset, and the lessons that they've learned along the way. Thank you guys for being on.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, honestly, we got to spend the last couple of days with you guys. It's been real fun. I feel like I was telling Fair, my wife, I said, man, we got some new family friends now. So
yes,
thank you guys.
Absolutely. You guys are so warm, welcoming. We had a wonderful time.
Well, thank you. All right, so if you want to tell the audience, like, where are you from and what I mean, y'all do a little bit of everything, but just tell where you're from and what do you do right now?
I'm Alex Gerofalis. I'm originally from Serbia, moved to the United States 20 plus years ago, met my husband in Philadelphia 20 plus years ago, and stayed and made the United States my home. And just like any immigrant, this was a land of opportunities, land of yes for me. And since my 20s, I've been very, very excited to live and participate in doing business in this country, doing life in this country. And I'm just very fortunate that I have great husband, great partner for the past 20 plus years in that, and I just met a lot of wonderful people, and they were all part of our journey. Bobby will tell you more about it.
I'm Bobby Gerofalis. I'm the child of immigrants from Greece, so I grew up in Virginia. Hardworking parents, they had a restaurant. I grew up in the restaurant business, so I learned about hard work, being entrepreneurial, and kind of grew up, was kind of pushed into becoming a doctor like the typical first generation American immigrant child. So I became a pediatric dentist. I met my wife, like she said, in Philadelphia during my residency. And then we moved back to Virginia, and slowly but surely we started our businesses. And I think, definitely being a partner, husband-wife, entrepreneurial business couple has definitely had its advantages. And, it's brought us to where we are today. And it's been a interesting journey, great journey. And, the journey's definitely not done. So excited to see where it goes. For me, I've been diving into, mindset space, entrepreneurial space, mastermind space. I've met great people like Shane, and I'm very excited to see where it goes and what the next chapter involves.
Man. Well, yeah, you guys do a lot of everything. I know we met at Ty's party that time, and we're definitely working on personal. How do you think personal branding has helped y'all's business?
I started kind of getting the personal brand dialed in within the last 3 to 6 months, and I've noticed, just the traction I've been getting with people reaching out to me. I've noticed even people like doctors that that they find me on Instagram and follow me. They ask me questions. I've actually recruited a couple of doctors just from my personal brand that they want to work with me, and it's pretty exciting. It's like a business card, and that's how now you show social proof. You show authenticity, and I think it's really, dialing everything in, and we're going to see where it goes. But I'm very excited about it. I'm excited how the personal brand is pivoting to the business brand as well, and how that's going to evolve and make us just a better company overall.
Absolutely.
I'm just warming up to personal branding. I'm a private person. I value my freedom highly, and I don't do social media other than being an observer for things that I like. I don't follow personal friends. I don't post anything. So I like
pretty pictures. You like pretty
pictures. I like architecture. I like fashion, and I love politics. So X is my drug of choice.
X,
your doom scroll, her doom scroll of choice.
Yeah, it's X definitely. I'm warming up to personal branding because even in the space that we're in, healthcare, which people are not so excited about personal branding. We just have a lot of other things to do. You go and do your work, and then you go home tired after being with patients all day. But I see that even people there are repeating, we check out social media. Our doctors check out social media.
They do.
It is really becoming a new business card. And
especially the younger doctors that we have in our company. They're the ones that, are reaching out or looking for mentorship and,
Right, and that collaboration, and who is a better person than to present who you are and what you do in life than yourself. So again, I'm warming up to social media. I'm here to support Bobby.
Kind of dragging her into it. It's like you're coming on board.
But yeah.
I do better. I do better when
and I see value in it.
I do better when she's in my reels. So
No, it took me a while. Like I said, I'm an introverted person, and I'm very private. I'm usually the guy, the brain behind each kind of deal. I just love
That's
entrepreneurial
Alex,
things.
yeah.
But it's taken everything to like come forward and do it at all, and just like put myself out there. So I understand.
Yeah, I was looking. I was watching you yesterday at the law seminar, and who you are privately as a person and who you are as a speaker is just incredibly. You're still there. Your personality, your humbleness, your warmth with people is still there, but you turn into this extrovert, and I just don't know how.
Oh man, I take that as a good compliment.
Yeah,
All right, so,
definitely compliment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you guys. Okay, so y'all do a little of everything. Let's start on dentistry. Dentistry
Okay.
first. I thought that was very
Yeah.
interesting. So you guys own some pediatric
Correct.
dentist offices.
So
Yes.
the curious thing about Bobby and I is that we both went to dental school. I went
Yes.
to dental school in Serbia, and then I moved to the United States, got my degree in bioscience, biotechnology. I always loved science, and then I got my MBA, and that's where my eyes really, really opened and said, like, wow, this is a country of opportunities. This is a country where I can do so much. And somewhere in that,
And for
I
my
met
path,
Bobby.
I was in Philadelphia. I was doing my pediatric dental residency at Temple Children's Hospital in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I wanted to go to pediatric dentistry. It seemed like the most fun specialty out of the dental fields. More humanistic. You're treating kids. You're treating the parents as well, basically. So I enjoyed that connectivity with people with pediatric dentistry, and I knew it was a really good model business-wise. She was much more dialed in as to how to scale that, whereas I was really dialed in into being an amazing clinician, an amazing pediatric dentist, and really building up my brand as Dr. Bobby before that was even a thing 20 years ago. So,
Yes.
we kind of
And then
became collaborative.
First,
and-
Bobby is an exceptional dentist. You can want it, you can even go through school, but when you have it in your hands, to work with your hands, that's really something special. Not everyone is so he was an exceptional dentist, and he was exceptional in working with children and bonding with children, and I think that's his
and with parents too, I think.
personality.
Yeah.
First, but I think when you bond with their children, parents just
They
naturally
sense, yeah.
relax. They
Yeah.
sense that if you're treating their children well, then they get comfortable and they relax naturally around
Yeah,
you. And you have that talent that you're very, very gentle and very good with children, and you can get on their level. And it's a lot of psychology. Every child is different, and I think that's what attracted Bobby, because not every day is the same.
Yes.
With adults, we all have our coping mechanisms. You sit in the chair, you're like, okay, what's coming? You're just, you're trying to talk to your dentist like, Yeah, with child, it's every child is different. Every day is different. You get
Yeah.
40 kids, 50 kids a day. They're all different. They all have different needs, different sensitivities. I think that's, I never, in how many years that I've known you, and you worked in a chair for more than
20
some years, he never complained about his day at work as a dentist.
Wow, that's awesome.
Ever. He never came home and said, oh my God, what an awful day I had. Ever.
Yeah.
So, so we started building from there, and that...
and that was the thing. So we decided to go. I wanted to go back to Virginia Beach area. I wanted to be close to my mom and brother, and that's where we wanted to open. And my initial goal was, hey, maybe have 2 offices, a couple associates, being able to take time off here and there. And Alex already in her head was like, oh no, we're going to go bigger.
I think I recognized him as a brand.
She wanted to expand.
Oh,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I like the game. I like having fun with stuff, with business. But I recognized that brand right away. Like, okay, we're gonna package Bobby. And then when we started bringing associates, he generates so much trust that it was Dr. Bobby approved. He has such integrity. He has such high ethics that everyone who we brought in the practice, if the person was not good, they almost, to this day, they just select out on their own. But a lot of good people just stuck, and they
love the environment.
They love the environment. They accepted the culture. They kind of like meshed with culture and meshed with his
And
personality.
on the other end, these other older pediatric dentists in the area were, at the time they were ready to retire, sell out, and they wanted to, instead of doing that to a corporate, they wanted to join our group. I remember we had several older pediatric dentists who were like, can we just join your group and be a part of your group? And I'm like, okay, sure. So literally these multiple offices just started falling into our lap just by the integrity and the brand that we were building even before it was such a thing in the late 2000s. So
and as much as people like to make money, but if they're doing a sale, if they're transitioning their practice, their home, if you're doing real estate, they like that personal angle. They like to see who this is going to. I've been building this. I've built this house.
Well,
I've built this practice. Who's it going to go to? Is corporate going to take it and just butcher it, tear it apart, make it something that's not, or is going to stay and be...
It's in a parallel to what you were describing yesterday on certain transactions with real estate, getting to know the owner, getting to know the psychology of the owner. It was literally a parallel how you were describing your transactions as to how we were transactioning dental practices that wanted to join our group.
With the sellers. Well, one thing, too, that stood out yesterday, to me, was not only, we'll go to the owners, too, but you were saying, sometimes the parents that come in, you're working on their child. And then the kid's upset, the mom's kind of worried or something. I imagine that most people are like, oh, man, these parents are being a pain. But you're like, no. It's their baby. I understood.
In my head, we were like, all right, this is going to be a real winner here, parent-wise. But no, I mean, you recognize how they are, and from there you learn the psychology, and you get them to be on board with you and ultimately trust you. Once you build their trust, whether it's you're treating a patient, you're buying a real estate from a seller or something, once you gain the trust and empathy, then it's a done deal.
Then they feel like they're working together.
You have to have natural empathy for people, and especially when you work with children, once you have your child, that empathy definitely raises to another level. You have different level of understanding. But even if you don't have children, you just understand that that's 99.9. It's the most valuable thing in someone's life. They're bringing this child to you to entrust you in something that even as an adult we're a little, who likes going to a dentist?
I want to go to the dentist.
I really actually like going to a dentist.
A good
sit all day long. Oh my God, that's my favorite thing.
Scraping
That's my
scrape
I'm one of those rare ones. But so and I think that level of trust, if you gain, if you know how to empathize with people's most valuable assets, like children, then I think you can empathize with anything, and you can build relationships in anything else. So we kind of had a good run with dental industry, and we're still in it, and we love doing it.
We've had bumps on the way. It has not been a linear up,
But at least you learn from everything.
Oh, we certainly learn.
You still learn. Sometimes I think, my 20s were to invest in myself and my education. My 30s were for building a business, building a family. 40s, I know it all. Whoa, was I mistaken on every level? Every level, personal level, relationship level, friends, business partners, businesses. I think 40s were for us like just a tremendous lesson that keeps going and keeps giving.
So whenever you guys maybe like merge with another practice, how do you bring in your culture into that new part? I don't know how it is. Maybe I know how it is with martial arts schools or most entrepreneurs. But when you come in, they're like, I've done this for 40 years. How do they transition?
You establish that parameter and expectation even before. You're like, okay, we're going to implement our systems.
Transparent.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
You're very transparent.
We're going to implement our operating software. We're going to, put you in our system and our operating systems and procedures, basically. But
for us, it was important for us to build a system first before. We always build a system so we could plug in more of the same. We could scale, right? We could plug more offices. So when we had one office, we knew that with that system, we can plug in 3. When you had 3 offices, we dismantled that system. We were like, all right, we're going to build something for 5, for 10.
That's the thing. So, after level, you dismantle and then you build something. So we're actually going to go through that again this year with another operating system, which is going to help us scale even more to more locations. So it's constantly building, dismantling. And we kind of grew, we grew equally through opening de novo offices and mergers, acquisitions. Well, actually, no mergers, just acquisitions. But you have a system, you stand behind your system, you implement your system, you're very transparent, and you provide a lot of support. You provide a lot of support, not only to a doctor, but to staff. People need stability. They need to feel that they're being heard.
Things are changing, but things are
getting better.
There's a footing. There's a foundation. You're not falling into the abyss, and not everything is not upside down. It's change, but you have all support. You can ask questions.
That's the thing. It's communication, basically. So we've learned that the last couple of years, as we've really scaled the last few years, building systems is, communication through different methods like Telegram, always being accountable, having someone to be the glue between all the departments, whether it's with your manager, your clinical team leads, your executive team, your clinical director. So now I've seen that having all these open channels of communication so people are heard and you're quick to respond to what needs to happen. It's
People
really
are heard, you respond quickly and you deliver.
Yes.
Because in the whole chaos, in any business, there's a daily, there are daily fires, there's daily stuff that you're doing, and everyone gets caught up in housekeeping. But we have rocks, we deliver on the rocks, we deliver on small things, we deliver on big things. You don't deliver 100% of the time, you're not a machine. If you deliver 80% of time, I think that's a solid number. We aim for 90, but we deliver. So
and every quarter we have these big meetings where
integrity. You stand behind
Yes.
what you say, what you will do. You do what you said you would do.
and every quarter we have these big executive meetings where we talk about what are the issues, what are the rocks, what needles do we need to move, and from
What
there we have a
wrinkles
quarter.
iron out.
Who
Yeah.
owns what process?
Yeah.
So
Okay, so you have the pediatric dentistry, but you guys have orthodontists and you have cosmetics. Like what different types of clinics do you guys have?
we are committed to children's dentistry. We have orthodontics branch that just recently started about 6 months ago.
We
awesome.
started one and then dismantled. Now we're restarting with a new brand, new orthodontic division, which is, it's literally start from the ground up. We started it
Wow.
6 months ago, and already it's starting to do very well. We have excellent providers that we've attracted. It's with its pressure points as well, but it's very exciting, and it's just kind of
Yeah,
Yeah.
Part of the
that was
package.
our original idea. We were the pioneers of merging the two, over 10 years ago. But you need to have the right people in the right seat. We unfortunately did not have the right person in the right seat for that division, and things were going south for a very long time. So we dismantled that relationship, and we rebuilt. So we're in the process of rebuilding that branch because it's such a tremendous add-on bonus for patients and parents in our practice to have that option to they already built trust all these years, and now their kids are teenagers, and now maybe they're in their 30s and they want to have braces again and touch up
Yes.
on their smile. So it's just a great add-on, great bonus, and we love to provide that service, and our providers are amazing. And then we have one adult practice that does cosmetic dentistry, prosthodontics. It's
But your
nice-
passion is really the children.
Yes,
the
it-
pediatric
it-
side,
yes,
that's the core foundation.
It's almost
yeah.
like our secure spot. We have two wonderful general dentists, one prosthodontist, great staff. If a parent asks us, hey, we would love to come here. We really love what you're doing here, but you don't take parents. We're like, well, we do have adult office that takes, and then you can go there. We trust them. So, a lot of wonderful people. There's work for
At
everyone.
what point does the children come, like they just say, hey, I'm 16, 17, and then they get 18, you say, okay, now you got to go to another, or how does that work usually?
It's around that
That
parameter.
time, yeah.
Around
Yeah,
16, 17. Some of them will self-select. They're like, oh, I'm done with the kiddie dentist. Oh, here you go to the adult.
And some
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
will come back from college and still come and sit
And then
in
they're
their
like, we don't
Can
want
you
to
please
leave the
see me?
pediatric dentist. Don't make us go to the big dentist. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of a natural transition when they just age out. But, all the divisions we have, plus we have a surgical division where we have a surgery center where we take kids that are, special needs, have a lot of work. And, we have an anesthesiologist, we have a nurse. I mean, we really
Wow.
provide full scope. That's really grown over the last few years, especially.
And dentistry has changed. Children's dentistry, which is cosmetic dentistry, changes all the time. Orthodontics change, but children's dentistry has changed, and so many high quality new tools have come around, and we love being pioneers and testing things, and just changed the way we practice, painless practice, fast practice. It's really even 5 years ago was not like that.
I wish you guys were around when I was a kid.
I wish I was around when I was a kid.
I know. And like I said, I remember telling you guys a story yesterday, but my mom always tells me this story. They took me to a dentist office, and they actually had her leave the room. And then she happened to go and look in a little window real quick just to see, and she saw the dentist shaking his hand and had like women and people holding me down, and I had a bruised ear. Like my ears were bruised where they were holding me down, and I apparently had bit the dentist.
That was how they practice.
Well,
I mean, I came in when into the
Yeah.
field, and that's how those older pediatric dentists are practicing.
Yeah.
No parent in the room, hold the kid down, get it done. And I didn't want to
You didn't
practice.
want it like
No, I mean, I told my assistants, I'm like, don't hold the kid down. We're going to get this done a different way. So I literally saw what you even for me when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I was 6 getting cavities filled out. I don't think I was numb properly, and there was it was hurting, but I just remember gripping the chair and I was squeezing like this.
It's terrifying.
Well, I mean, but for me, what was more terrifying, if I made a scene there, my Greek immigrant parents would have beat me at home. So I was like, I am not going to make a peep. I just sat there so
Yeah.
I remember that phase. But yeah, I mean, as I came into maturity as a practitioner, didn't want to have that type of practice. For me, it was I wanted to treat the kid with integrity, and even if they're scared, okay, there's other ways we can figure out how to get this done. So
Bobby revolutionized children's dentistry when we opened our first practice. He let parents in the room. That was the first.
Oh, yeah.
He was the first and only dentist, I think, in our area in Southern Virginia where we live, that parents can. People were shocked.
And they love
and
that.
I tell that to all my new doctors. I'm like, the policy of my company is parents are allowed to come in the room, except if it's a put-to-sleep surgical procedure, which we treat it like as if you're in a surgical center. But every other procedure, the parents are more than happy allowed to come in.
Transparency, just with anything else. Fear is bred in that
Dentistry
murky
space.
right?
Yes.
In everything. You're afraid of unknown. You're afraid of that murkiness.
Yes.
So
But the best marketing tool was when I let the parent back in, because they saw, because before they couldn't see what you were doing if you didn't keep them in the room.
And that's
now
their
that
babies.
they came in, they would see the magic of Dr. Bobby or any practitioner that was really good. So that was the starting of a brand and building the review brand, building the company brand. Exactly. The word of mouth marketing. Then as social media was coming on board, then you'd hear parents, oh, this office is really great. They've done great wonders. And, now I really pushed the last year the branding of the offices with the reviews. I've taken all my offices are like high 4s right now.
Wow.
Company wide,
For someone we've been in practice for almost 18 years.
And you're still in the top. Wow. And the thing is, y'all showed me some pictures of inside. I said, man, it's very open in a lot. Now, there are some private rooms, but that's where parents can come in.
So,
and it's very, very welcoming.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's how we live our lives. That's how
lots of windows, natural light.
Yeah, I did like that too.
The feng shui is really good. It's very calming. So
let light in, open space. No fear, transparent in life, transparent in partnership, transparent in business.
What you do,
like it that way.
And I like that because then also the parents get to see the interaction between the dentist and the child, and that's a big deal.
And you know what? They're not just reviewing the doctor. Like a lot of my reviews are like, oh, this dental assistant was amazing. I would like to see her again. Oh, they were great helping me in the front. So I mean, again, it's all part of that. You're tying now into the branding of these offices, and it's so important now because that's what people look at. They're looking at the whole office experience, not just the doctor.
Correct, and it's a very fulfilling job, not only for a doctor, it's for people who work there too.
And very important, what's the name of your clinic so people at home know?
We are Hampton Roads Pediatric Dentistry and Prime Orthodontics. So soon we're coming out of Hampton Roads, so it's going to be Prime Kids.
Prime
Dental
Kids.
Prime Dental Kids.
Prime Dental Kids.
Yes, Prime Dental Kids. So the whole company is going to be Prime Dental Services, Prime Dental Alliance, but the kid division is Prime Dental Kids. So we're very excited.
One thing too, I've noticed usually going back to social media, there's sometimes I see like chiropractors and dentists and for example, I wanted to get LASIK, but I've been terrified to do it. I don't know, just the thought of someone like putting a laser in mine, but then I started looking online and I saw that some of the best were in Beverly Hills. I flew all the way to California to get work done. I assume people will see this kind of stuff and they'll want to fly to you guys just to do it.
We get people that come out of from Carolina that come up towards our area, people that live towards Richmond and come down. I think as we scale out of the area, move to different locations and label them a Prime Dental Kids practice, I think that's going to give some more credibility. Like, oh, there's the branches here. Now we're going to go to this office. Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. And so not only the dentistry, but you also have a med spa. I heard you talking to Jordan earlier. So you want to explain what a med spa is too, and how did y'all get into that?
It's we like wellness. We like that space. We like the science that's coming out of it, and how fast it's developing. So we've been enjoying learning and reading about it, and this opportunity came to open wellness centers. It's a franchise out of Florida, and we are part of it. It came with its pains, of course, but we love the space. So the med spa is in Virginia Beach, our first one, and we do hormone optimization, weight management, aesthetics,
nutraceuticals, aesthetics,
yes.
Infrared, hyperbaric chamber,
We have hyperbaric chamber, which is amazing.
So there's 4 different components all in one. Instead of,
you get complete blood work done there. Nurse practitioner is there, health coach is there, nutritionist is there,
We need to go
esthetician
there.
is there. It's a really
most places have all these different services at different locations. Like there's an IV place for your IVs. There's a place for red light. This all comes under one roof,
All
which is
under
very
one.
nice. You typically can do a la carte. You can do a membership there. So we've had really good results. Some of our good friends and clients, I mean, they've lost weight control. They're doing it properly. Their hormones are optimized.
they're building their muscle mass while they're losing weight. So
That's
great.
amazing.
Their hormones
Yeah.
are now dialed in, and people are just living happier lives. It's a very quick return on investment, and happy one.
Yeah, one thing I like, most of y'all's business are all in the medical field, though, so it's kind of very similar. And then, of course, y'all do some real estate stuff. I know you were telling me about some great fix and flips and things.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about some of the fix and flips. I want to see some of these
started
pictures.
real estate, just kind of we had some single family homes with real estate, some rental income. We kind of went then into real estate that we own where our offices are at. Then it kind of progressed to commercial real estate.
Some shopping centers.
And then during COVID, then that's where we got the idea of like, hey, this would be a great tear down and then build something nice and either hold it or flip it.
We spent a lot of time at the beach during COVID, and we usually travel a lot.
Traveled to Greece,
we travel
but
internationally.
we weren't allowed to go out of the country during COVID, so we were stuck in the United States. But we would naturally go to the Outer Banks. It's right in our backyard.
North Carolina, yeah.
So we would go to Kerala a lot, and I'm just driving around, and just my mind was working, and I'm like, oh, these are some nice houses, and I'm like, oh, this is a shithole here. Someone should go in and put a nice house there. And, we just started thinking, and we started meeting people on our trips to Kerala that were, and honestly, Shane, wherever we go, if it's a vacation or for pleasure, we always are like, ooh, what business could we do here?
Yeah.
What could
it's
we
part
make
of the game.
It
though.
is
It's
part
fun,
of the game.
right?
So that's how it turned into. We started
even if you mentally play the game, and it's nice. Yeah.
So during our little vacation trips down there, which were 3, 4, 5 days at a time, we started meeting contractors and started looking. I started going into these websites to see what these houses look like in design and the layouts, and I just started learning like that. I started seeing the locations of them, and we finally on one were like, hey, this one's for sale. It's a great price. Let's jump on it. And
we found a great team that we trusted, like a phenomenal broker that's been with us for past
5 years.
5 years. We worked with her. Heather McClay is her name, and then
with Sotheby's.
contractor. His name is Todd Coyle, just a good, great North Carolina man, so trustworthy. So when you have good people around,
you would like Todd.
Yeah,
I'd love
when
to
you
meet
have
him.
good
You would love
people around
Todd.
you, when
Todd.
you have
I have to come see you guys. I want to see
Todd
some of this
Coyle,
stuff.
absolutely.
Todd Coyle,
yes.
okay.
And I have to say, we constructed a lot of dental offices, especially over a year and a half. Again, if you don't have a smart contractor, a good contractor, we work on commercial with Spain Commercial. That's a local contractor. We love working with local people.
Me too.
Yeah,
It is.
100%.
They know the area, and then it's more personal.
It's more personal.
Yeah.
You develop that relationship, that
Yes.
trust, and it's just it fosters great connectivity and just collaboration, which we're all about.
That's someone who you run into at the store or at the restaurant, and you can foster that relationship for years. And this specific company, Spain Commercial, they built our first dental offices, and when we were ready to grow over the past year and a half and double the space of our dental offices, move them out, we called them again for the second round, 10 years later. And, maybe 10 years from now, we're just going to do another round with them. So, great people all around. But back to real estate, we started playing with these older homes in North Carolina, and both of us we love real estate, but we are creative. So that kind of brought that. I love construction, so that brought that creativity, love for
travel
design.
and work at the same
yes,
time.
love work and travel, and then love for design, love for architecture.
Yeah, and as we were building the house, we would be there for 5-6 days like on vacation, but then we would go down the street, say, how's the construction going? We would meet up with them, we'd walk around the house. So it was literally that constant.
Well, and it's also you
awesome,
learn a lot. When you're on a construction site, you just learn a lot and absorb that, and it's super interesting. And for me, honestly, every house that I do, we do it fully furnished. So I get to go furniture shopping all the time.
So you have a lot of fun with
I
that.
got to shop for work. I mean, it's great.
Well, she would furnish the fix and flips like easier and more aesthetic than our house too. So
I make quick decisions when it's about someone else.
How many times have y'all bought something and you have it all perfectly furnished? You say, do we want to sell? Do we want to keep? Do we want to refinance? Have you had that go through?
The last
one
we were
was
like,
really nice. Yes, that was, and that was one of those that actually went a little south, and I didn't like some things. When I saw it frame, I'm like, oh God. I almost cried actually, and I rarely break down. But then we're like, all right, I can work with anything, and
you made it work. Some of the rooms were smaller than we thought.
We made it work so well that we didn't want to sell it because it was so beautiful.
Well, one thing I like too is that you're really a power couple. There's not a lot of husbands and wives that can work together, and y'all really
People
lean
ask
into
us
it
that
well.
all the time, but
we have our
his
spheres.
parents kind of work together. His dad passed early, but my parents worked together for a very long time. Granting it was accounting, so it's really not something super dynamic. But they always said, because they worked corporate before and or government jobs before back in Serbia, but they always said, why did we not start this earlier?
Yes.
To work together.
Yeah.
Because, and for us, it was an easy decision because we like spending time together.
It was almost a given. Like I think you asked it the other day, and I was just like, well, it was without a doubt that we just naturally
just felt like
to work together.
And you have some good strengths and weaknesses. I've noticed that y'all kind of
we play off of each other.
really well.
We do, but we wanted to prioritize time together. We like spending time together.
Yes. I can tell too, and that's another great thing too. Y'all wanted the freedom to spend time with each other.
Ultimately, we fell in love and we got married, but we ultimately we like each other. Yes, I mean that's the thing.
I tell that to my son. I love you, but right now I don't like you. Like just correct this. So when you love and like someone, it's good to go with us.
It's not without its pressure points, when business can be up and down, and I mean that can obviously impact the relationship and at different times. But ultimately, if you're aligned with the same goal, if you're aligned with getting through the problems together, if you're aligned with supporting each other when one's on a high, one's on a low, then ultimately you're going to be fine.
I think sometimes the pressure points are the lows. Sometimes later on cause the best positives.
Well, absolutely. Whenever you're going through that's in a difficult place or a sticky point, then that's just kind of building you up for the next phase as well. And I have to keep reminding myself that too, because sometimes, it is, I feel like you're stuck in the mud or you're like, oh, this again, and I can't move this needle. But ultimately, it's just paving the way for you to, level up.
1,000%.
You have a mirror, you have someone to come home to, and even if you're going through sticky points, through pressure points, you can't hide from them because you have that mirror at home.
That's right.
And then it solves problems faster. It might not be the most painless way to solve a problem, but it's a fast way to solve a problem because there's someone there, like, okay, the problem is there. You can't sweep it under a rug. You just the only way is through. So it's that accountability that you have in your partner.
Yes. Now, one other thing, too, I know that you had some heart issues, and you were telling me yesterday. Can you tell us a little bit about that story? And then I want to get your take on how did it feel to kind of... that had to be terrifying. Okay, I'll let you start off.
I can deal with anything. I can deal with very high stress levels on but if it's health...
And health with a loved one.
Anyone, with loved ones, with... friends, with family, with my animals.
It hits right here.
That's your gut check.
That's everything else falls. I drop everything else. Nothing else matters. I'll drop everything. And that takes like one priority. And only highest priority.
Yes.
So for me, I mean, I got dialed in with, and people ask me, how are you so fit? How do you look like this at 48? I'm almost 49. It wasn't a transformation that happened overnight. It literally were little micro steps that started in my early to mid 30s where I dialed in my nutrition. I went gluten-free and I started noticing changes in my body. Then I started doing hot yoga consistently. That built up a consistent pattern to start working out. Then at 40, I joined Kino Body and started working on a specific regimen of how to lift weights and reverse pyramid training. So all these little steps led to me, by 45, I had, really good physique. I was a little bulky. I was lifting really heavy. I was ego bro lifting a little bit. But so at that point, though, I started noticing all of a sudden, and it came on very quickly, that I started having symptoms in my chest and in my heart and neck area. And it was just from doing cardio, whether I was hiking, playing basketball. I've been doing Greek dancing all my life. I couldn't Greek dance for more than a minute without feeling like this choking sensation around my neck.
This is all happening kind of in 2021, so kind of late COVID, post-COVID.
Yes.
So,
No, it's still kind of the middle of COVID, but we'd gone
Yes.
through that initial wave of 2020 where we were
right,
like, what
so
is this?
like, is it that you're out of shape because you were not Greek dancing that much and we're just starting? So
didn't-
it's
that
kind
was
of one
the
of those obscure things, like what is it really?
That was the
That's a-
scariest thing for me was like, what is causing this? Like, I didn't know what was
We
the
would go
matter.
hiking and he couldn't go up the little hill. He would just stop.
And
And
panic.
I was like, oh my God.
Whereas
like,
a year before, I would do the same hike and I'd just
Run.
Run.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
yes.
fine. So it just literally happened overnight. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't get into a doctor. Like doctors at that time, you had long wait lists to get in during
Booked
COVID,
up.
and
That's
I
right.
felt like no one was trying to help me. And that's when I was the most scared. I was like, well, what's going on here? Like, and
Yeah, again, murkiness. You don't know what's going on. You need to see what's going on. So,
Yes.
so that being said,
again,
we
good
finally.
people around us. You know,
Yeah.
I activated my mom network from my son's school, and the women did their magic and pushed husbands, and we got Bobby into to see a doctor. And,
I got to see a cardiologist. He did an EKG first, and he was like, "Huh, have you had a heart attack?" And I'm like, "Not that I know of, but I did have some episodes. I was at a Greek wedding. I showed you how everyone's dancing. I started breaking out in sweat, panting, and I felt choking. That was the only time I felt like. That's when I was really scared. I'm like, something's wrong. So a month and a
I
half
remember
later,
noticing that, and I was like, it's really not that intense because here I am dancing, and he has to step out. I'm like, okay.
so a month and a half later, I
This
get the
was
EKG.
scary.
He's like, looks like you might have had a heart attack. We don't know, but we need to do an echo the week later. He does the echo, and he calls me that night. He's like, Bobby, you have a bicuspid aortic valve. You need to have surgery ASAP. I don't want you moving around. You need to lay down. We need to do this
Lay
in
down.
2 weeks. It literally, I had
Wow.
the phone in my hand. I was just like
But I
mic
have to
drop.
go to work. He was still practicing dentistry. He was still in the chair. He's
And
like,
at that point,
I have
I had been
patience.
practicing for like 18 years. I was still working 4 days a week. At that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to 3 days a week, have a day for admin and a day to myself. Well, that got
Yeah.
shot to shit. So
Yeah.
I started literally my days off. I started trying to find doctors. Where am I going to have the surgery?
Yeah.
I had a catheterization, another echo, all these consults. So literally, I get the diagnosis, and then I meet another doctor that's like, okay, well, you have to do this soon. You're not going to die right away, but you're very lucky because you can have an episode and
we don't know what
And
the
you don't
episode
know
is
we
what
going
don't
that
know
could
what
cause.
the episode is.
Yes.
If you're
yes.
going to just faint, or you're
You're
going
gonna
to
die.
have a clot and go to your brain, to your lungs, or you're just going to fall and hit your head. And
Once I got the diagnosis, I almost got like, it was almost like a sense of relief. I'm like,
I know.
okay, now I know. That's what that is. I have basically it's just a genetic disorder of my heart valve that was never caught as a kid. It apparently now runs in my family with some of the research I've done. I've had family members die of it in their 40s. I'm in my 40s of it. So literally, very grateful that it was discovered. I got my
Yeah.
foot into the Cleveland Clinic through a contact. So I went ahead 8 weeks after my diagnosis. I had open heart surgery to fix the valve.
Wow.
And that was almost 3.5 years ago. So
Yeah.
very,
he's a part of the Zipper Club.
I'm in the Zipper Club. It's an exclusive.
that they call it,
it's
the Zipper Club?
Yeah, only cool people can be in the Zipper Club.
Now, one thing you
I don't
told
want to
me,
be cool ever.
and one thing you told me yesterday, you said you were already kind of working out 10
Yeah.
days after
So
surgery.
yeah, I mean, do you know what? I was fit going into the surgery. I remember my cardiologist when I went and was laying on the table for a heart catheterization to check out the arteries. He was like, "Well, you're the fittest person I've ever had on this table." So, and my
He said-
arteries and my arteries checked out clean. Everything was
He said
pristine.
just
you
that
will
valve.
never have a heart attack. You're
Because of your-
pristine. Your
yeah.
arteries are just so like baby clean.
Wow.
But you will die of a heart
Heart
valve.
failure. You will
The
have
heart
a heart
valve.
failure, not heart attack, but you'll have
So
a heart
I bounced back. I had the surgery. I was 2 days in ICU, 2 days in step down where you're recovering in another room. So I was out of the hospital in 4 days. I went to the gym 10 days after my surgery, just doing air weights and just trying to start moving my body. 'Cause at that point, within a week, like I shrank. I felt, you're going through this traumatic
Bobby
surgery.
walked first day out of a hospital. He walked, I think, 7,000 steps.
Oh.
Like he wanted to walk. He was prancing up and down that hallway on day 3. I have videos where nurses are cheering on him.
I just
and
kept wanting
he's
to
just-
walk up and down the
just
hallway.
going up and down
Is
and
that done
I was
with this
thinking
man?
about content. I'm like, here we are walking.
A lot
So-
of good videos there.
But I learned from
Yeah.
that, just to pivot real quick, I now walk about 10 to 15, 16,000 steps a day.
That's amazing.
I
Yes.
love it. It's the best form of a workout. It's best physically, it's best mentally. I noticed my body tightens up when I go on these nice walks. So I learned that from the heart surgery. But again, pivoting back, for me, the mental recovery after the heart surgery was very, very difficult. That, mentally going through all these stages of whether grief, anger, despair, not in the right mindset. I was mean to my wife as well. I was mean to my kid at times. Just it was the mental recovery was much harder.
When you're faced, I think, with that finality that you can die or you could have died.
That mortality feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That you're not invincible and you can't just. For me, it was he was pre-surgery. For me, it was pre-surgery.
Yeah, she was petrified.
I was petrified. What if he dies? It's unimaginable that you're just waiting. And I could only pray and breathe. There was absolutely no other function that I could do. Like I would wake up in terror. It's not anxiety. Anxiety doesn't exist. You wake up in fear, fear from your stomach in every blood vessel in your body.
Yes.
And you know that it's something big, that he's going to basically be dead on the table because that's the gold standard. They stop the blood flow.
You're on a heart-lung machine. You're literally dead on the table. And the machine's keeping you alive.
No blood flow through your heart. So
kind of cool if you think about it.
That's amazing. They can do that.
Right?
It's really amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was just in sheer fear until that surgery. I knew that once we are over that he's alive and well, everything is fine. To the point that I think his doctor was done within maybe like 30, 45 minutes, and they have this phone. They call you and they give you a pager. So sorry about this. They give you a pager and they kind of update you. But he was just taken into surgery, and all of a sudden, the doctor wants to talk to you on a pager. Go and pick up the phone. And I'm like, okay.
Please.
What happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're running, trying to grab that phone in this little room. I still remember, and I'm grabbing the phone. It's like, I'm done. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? I was like, all done. They're about to close here, but everything went well. I'm like, okay.
Okay. How did you feel? A relief? Like, how did you feel?
I had a couple of people around me. I had my sister, Bobby's mom was there. Another friend was there who came to support Bobby's mom. I'm like, it's done. And they're like, what do you mean it's done? I'm like, it's done. We're like, let's go shopping.
So they went to the gift shop. They went to the mall. I'm sitting here still out of it, intubated with a tube down my mouth, and they're like prancing away.
They let me in right away, probably within an hour. Where they stabilized him and he was already in ICU. They're like, you can see him for 2 minutes. But then they realized that I could take these things because really, if we're all alive, I could take anything. I'm a really good person to be in any kind of crisis, as long as everyone's alive. So so I spent. That was a stressful day.
Yes, you deserve to go shopping.
I actually didn't. Your mom.
Oh, my mom got the Louis Vuitton. That's right.
Yeah.
She celebrated with the Louis.
For Louis Vuitton, Cleveland Mall. Yeah, I was with you. I was with you all day until you walk up and then until they kicked me out.
I think you took pictures and I'm out of it like this.
Tubes everywhere.
And she's like smiling like this, like he's alive, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Where am I at?
I was so happy. Guys.
Look at my Louis Vuitton, I got.
That's the happiest day I think of my life. I don't even. I mean, I gave birth. We have a wonderful son. Mm-hmm. It was a happy day, but it was not that kind of elated that someone overcame this. I think that was the happiest day of my life, that Bobby was alive.
That's amazing.
And coming out of surgery.
But you know what I mean? Pivoting to the after effects of the surgery. So, I get through the mental recovery. I didn't work for 3 months. And honestly, it was very pivotal because I started working on the business instead of being in the business. I couldn't practice for several months. So I'm logging into I remember even when I got out of the hospital, we still stayed in Cleveland for a couple of days in the hotel. I'm logging on the computer, checking the schedules, checking the numbers. And I started then realizing I can do this from behind a computer screen or visiting offices instead of being in the business as a clinician. And that was the first steps for me to finally get out of the chair. So literally, I went back into the chair after the surgery 3 months later. I was working 2-3 days a week. And then a year later, I stepped out completely. And the office really started to grow post-surgery. So that for me was pivotal to say, okay, my phase as a clinician is done.
Come out.
Now for me to get to this next phase and really scale the business and make a legacy, make some sort of impact, this is my next phase in life. So honestly, it was almost as if the surgery was a wake-up call. Hey, you're done now doing this part of your life. You're going to start doing this. And from there, that's why I started going into masterminds, joining mentors. I didn't know what any of that was, Shane. I didn't know what a mentor was. I didn't know what a mastermind was.
Yeah. You just learned it.
You're your own mastermind.
So you start, going to these, you start meeting people. That's how ultimately I'm even here on this podcast with you, is because I had my heart surgery. Had I not had it, I probably would not have been sitting here with you right now.
It's amazing.
It was... I've learned to show gratitude for it. Again, every checkup I go to 2 checkups a year. You kind of get a little scared. It's like, what are they going to find? This checkup was great. This checkup was not as good. But ultimately, I'm still very grateful and thankful that I went through that, because it really pivoted me to a new direction in life. And I started investing in myself. I started cutting out bad habits. I started cutting out bad people. I really started putting
Perspective
boundaries.
change.
Absolutely. And then I started realizing I need to conserve myself and my energy, and allow people in, and retreat to keeping to myself and my family so I can preserve for the next phase. So it's been just an amazing journey since the surgery, and where it's going to go to, I don't know, and I'm excited for it. But ultimately, for me right now, that's the most pivotal event in my life. There's 2. I would say when my dad passed away suddenly at 17, and now when I had my open heart surgery at 45, was probably the most impactful event in my life.
Wow. It's very inspiring. You guys as a couple, it's just very inspiring. I want you to know that. I bet a lot of people are like, man, because y'all are partners, husband, wife, best friends, and y'all support with each other very well.
We enable each other too sometimes in bad ways.
You have that best friend that you're like, sure. Like,
she never says no to me. Whatever I want, she never says no. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. She's like, okay. And I'm like,
but I don't like no in life anyway,
Well,
I just I like a lot of yeses, and I like a lot of hell yes. So,
I love that.
So,
but y'all help each other, because I was just saying, man, he's the most how do you say it? Like fancy dress, like he dresses he's very fashionable, and then he was like, no, that's her. She helped me get into it.
She was pushing for years for me to
I was pushing for years for Bobby to get out of a chair. So, like 10 years in the making, he had to have heart surgery and a wake-up call in order to step out of a chair and say, like, hey, you are really valuable somewhere else. Let's spread this.
Well, my uniform in the chair was wearing scrubs, and I'd go to the office in shorts and a T-shirt and then change into scrubs. So, once
we got him out of the chair, then we got him out of scrubs, then we got him in...
out of the overgrown teenage boy look and jeans and, like a ratty T-shirt or something. So, but she's kind of...
Prada sneakers.
Helped molded me. My Prada sneakers were very comfortable in the clinic, honey. Come on.
You're on your feet for like hours. That was the uniform.
Yeah.
But anyway, he cleans up nicely, and he likes it now. Like Bobby has that aesthetic, artistic note, and he likes shaping things into.
And I think everyone whether it's an entrepreneur or a dentist especially, they have that creative side. So for me, I think I touched on it. Like I'm into Greek dancing. It's a hobby that's kind of a really great outlet, and for me, that's where I kind of exert my creativity side out when I
music, putting the sets together. There's a costume involved. There's
the physical aspect of dancing.
Well, it's volunteer, it's cultural, it's physical, it's social. It's a really good hobby, but ultimately it's a creative hobby.
Wow. Yes.
I think Bobby has that creative streak in everything that
which
he
kind
does.
of pivots. Whether it's Greek dancing and I'm directing groups, or now it's doing content and having some input with the content and seeing that creative side of it. I mean, it's really fun, and it keeps that side of the brain working, and it balances out everything else that you're trying to do.
Absolutely. All right, so it's very inspiring, everything that you said. So now we have like Jordan here, we have like he's wanting to start in his entrepreneur journey. So let's talk about some value points for like young guys like him, because you want to be successful, right? You want to have a successful relationship like this, right? Absolutely. So if you're talking to him and mentoring him, and you say, honestly, how old are you? 22. He's 22. You say, you're 22.
So young.
What does he need to do?
You're just under my son's age. You could be my son's friend.
You could be our kid. I mean, I think what I always say, 20s are for yourself. Invest in yourself in your 20s. Everything else is a distraction. Even relationships in your 20s, especially early 20s, are a distraction. Yes, I mean, don't blow a nice partner if finding a good partner, that's like your deal for life.
That's your most important decision and choice, is finding the right partner that's aligned with you, aligned with your goals, that will support you, and you will support your partner as well. So for me, that's the biggest thing. I'll tell you this, you're already so far ahead of the game at 22. You're in the right circles, you're the right people. Again, like I went a different route. I went the professional route at 22, but I didn't have any sort of mentor, guidance, or anything. You're already so far ahead of what you want to do. And just having that vision that this is what I want to get to, and just working towards it, at the same time, investing in yourself, keeping your health dialed in, keeping your body dialed in, all that plays into a big role. So I think just keep staying the course, writing down what you want to do and what you believe in, being around the right people, and just slow and steady, and you're going to get to where you want. I mean, it'll be exciting to see you in 10 years. You're only 22.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
It's so it's inspiring for me. Like, being in this whole mastermind space with networks and all that. Just seeing guys like you were telling me in their 20s, killing it already.
Killing it, amazing.
So amazing,
Amazing what platform this type of environment brings for young people like you. What kind of guidance, what kind of people you meet around you. I mean. Equally, we can learn from. I love working with young people because we can learn so much from young people. So it's really a symbiotic relationship. It's not even. It's mutual mentorship. As much as older people will mentor you, you will mentor them in a lot of things. So there's a lot of value that you provide. So I would say, just keep your head leveled and know your value and don't get distracted. And yes,
Cut out bad habits.
You will have a lot to offer in 10 years.
You don't need to do any bad habits, honestly. I mean,
that's
go out, have a drink with friends and whatnot, but don't get into the trap of always wanting to party or do this or do that or get into this, because ultimately it's just a waste of time. You have so much time on your side. Like, I envy people in their 20s because they have a lot of time, whereas I'm already into my late 40s. I still don't look as time as a limiting factor, but realistically someone in their 20s has so much more time to leverage that and to elevate how they want to be.
Yes.
And make less costly mistakes.
Yes. Learn from others. When they tell you don't do this, listen, if they've already been through that. So.
Yeah. Actually, that goes back to another thing too, because a lot of young people they're going to try and get with partners. Partners are make it or break it sometime, and we don't have to go into any details.
That's why I say, you can meet. It's not you can meet someone when you're younger. But a lot of chances are that you won't that young meet someone
partner relationship.
I mean, like business partner.
I'm talking about relationship because people get distracted with like life partners too. I think that's probably the biggest investment is a life partner, not big business partner.
That's right.
The biggest investment is a life partner because if that's a mess, if that turns
Affects
into a mess,
everything.
if you have children with someone who's not the right partner or turns out not to be a right partner. Forget business. That can all be fixed. Money is money. But when you have a personal life entangled and children involved, don't get married if you're planning to get divorced. So just be really, really, really careful.
In terms of business partner, just make sure you find the right person that aligns with your goals. Make sure you ultimately like the person. If you have any feelings of regret or feelings like, I don't really like being around him, but he does provide business value, it's probably not the right partner for you.
Red flags. If you see red flags, especially on the
goals, ethics.
Ethical, especially on ethics, how they treat other people around them, especially people who are not at a higher level than them, because people like that would usually be very subservient to people who are sitting on some higher level of hierarchy, whether that be business or professional or whatever. But if you see that they're treating people who help them, who work under them badly, that's a big red flag. Ethics is a big red flag. Regardless how much business value they will bring, it will derail you somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'd say you're young, so you can tolerate probably more than 3 red flags. But if you're over 30 and you see that third red flag coming up, someone didn't show up for a meeting, someone's always late,
someone's lying,
someone's caught lying, someone told you, hey, watch him, he really doesn't deliver. If you see the third one coming up, things in life, it's a waste of time. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my 3.
Yeah.
Red flags.
I think we're going to end up having to do a part 2 one day, aren't we?
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun.
This is fun. You're amazing at
scratch the
this.
surface.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see her really do the personal branding down. She does a great job.
She does. I'm trying to just drag her into it.
Thank you. I'm a long form person. I tend to weave, but I always come back to the point.
And I'm like, all right, let's connect these parts. I'm the director. I'm the nappy. I'm like, let's steer this direction. We're going to go that direction. So we're good pilot and co-pilot, especially when we drive too. Like, I'm the driver. She never really drives, but she'll say suggestions or can we go around or let's do this.
You let me drive through a desert. We were in Utah last week and he was so tired and I felt so bad. And we had a long drive. Something happened on the shorter way from Vegas to Utah. And we
had to go a long route.
6.5 hours. And he was really getting tired. I'm like, let me drive.
And I didn't want him to drive. I was like, no, I'm driving.
It's the desert. So I drove through the desert.
I let her
Played
but
my music.
I couldn't relax completely. I'm laying back a little bit. Why are you speeding? Why are we bumping? So, but I did get a cat nap or two. So yeah, I did trust her to drive. But on a side note, one of our quick little passions is going and having these nice travel experiences. We went to Amangiri in Utah, which was such an amazing experience. I don't know if you've ever been, but I highly recommend Amangiri. I'm a beach person. I derive my energy from the beach and the water, but being in the middle of the desert with these mesas and mountains around you, just in the stars.
Bobby indulges me a few times a year. I'm a mountain person. I see mountains and my heart dances. So I love hiking. I love
There's nothing better
even
than
a little
being
rolling hill.
Which is why we love going to Crete, where my family's from, because Crete, it's an island. It has the most amazing beaches, but then within a half hour you're up these mountains as well.
You're laying on the beach and looking at the.
So you have these mountains that go into the beach. So I mean, that's for me the ultimate. Where I recharge is going back to Crete. So
you travel a lot too.
We do. We're lucky for that. I mean, my family's from Crete. She's from Serbia, so we pivot a lot over there. But for me, going to Crete's a non-negotiable every year because it's my recharge, it's my recalibration. We're actually doing some real estate in Crete, of course. So we mix that as well. So we're building something there.
Always follow us wherever we go.
Yeah,
well, it's fun and it's a project. I think that's good.
Yeah, we're building a home there too.
Tell everyone at home where they can find you guys. What's the best way?
You can find me on social, on Instagram or Facebook, bobby.garafalis. Right now, follow us on Hampton Roads Pediatric Dentistry. It's going to be becoming Prime Dental Kids. That's where typically you'll see me. I don't have YouTube yet, or I'm going to pivot to that. And you'll find Alex
if you don't have my cell phone, you can't find me.
She's the hidden one in the shadows.
You can find her through me, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. You got to start a YouTube. I've seen some of your content. It's really amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to pivot. It's also finding the time, Shane, too. It does take a lot of time, and I've learned to delegate it to people. But
we need to learn from you how you find time for all these things. I mean, you have a great support team here, so that's awesome. But yeah.
This setup is amazing, too.
I'm looking forward to learning more from you.
Oh, no, we got it. Well, thank you guys for being on the show, and you're definitely going to have to come back, spend a few more days with us.
We're going to come see you guys. We're waiting for you guys to come to Virginia, show you Carolina, Outer Banks, come to Crete, if you guys can come to Crete at any point, bring the team to Crete.
We usually have a big house. We host everyone. We hosted a team last year of another crypto person, friend of ours who does a lot of crypto. He brought his team. They get some amazing footage. They were with us for a week. So, yeah, we love having guests, hanging out with good people. Yes.
Yeah, great. Well, you guys, again, thank you guys for being on.
Thanks for having us.
And y'all be safe, too.
Thank you guys.
See you guys.